What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a good day. I do. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you've got some coffee. Listen, we are going to be continuing our talks on the current raid, Sepulchre of the First Ones, and we're going to be talking about Anduin, Andy himself, our Lord and Savior, who's currently on the dark side, but he'll come back. Don't worry. So we're going to talk about the Anduin fight. Now, disclaimer, I haven't killed him yet, but I've seen a really good amount of the fight now, and I do want to share my thoughts and ideas from an enhanced perspective. What are some tips and tricks I can give to you guys as enhancement shamans going into this fight in particular? How are we performing? How are we looking? What's the damage going to look like? All that kind of stuff. And I also do want to give you some tips and tricks for the fight, because it's just a basic like 1-2 flipperoo kind of fight. Every time you flip from phase 1 to phase 2, it does add new mechanics, but we'll get to that later. I just want to give you like a really good idea of how to get through P1 and into P2, because that's like where most people are struggling. This Anduin fight is like way harder than everything else in the raid. Like, you can clear the rest of this raid. The rest of this raid feels like a normal raid to me. Like, I'm on normal difficulty right now, just trying to clear the whole thing. It feels like a normal raid. I've done a lot of raids now in my time here, and this feels like a normal raid to me on normal difficulty. It's wonderful. It feels challenging, but it doesn't feel like the numbers are tuned like so hard that it's like if I make a mistake, I'm going to die. Like, once you start doing heroic and certainly mythic difficulty, if you make like a single mistake, you basically die, right? So with the Anduin fight, though, even on normal, if I'm making like a single mistake, if I'm getting hit by something like Wicked Star, you know, I just like die. So this fight is really tuned up, and it's really difficult compared to the rest of the fights. It's a huge step up, and I love that. I think that's actually a great thing, but because of that, it's going to be an extra challenge for all of us. And so I want to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to survive this fight and how to play it well, because it requires like a ton of coordination. There's a lot of mechanics. So we'll get into it in a second. We'll do my build first. Let me take a drink here. Get your coffee, and let me go over my build really quickly. For this one, I was running Witch Doctor Wolfbones, of course. Nothing really new there. And I was, of course, Necrolord, and I had Fleshcraft. So we ended up having 73% mastery. I'm sort of slowly building my mastery up to like a really ridiculous number, and I'm losing a bit of my haste. But these are my stats right now. It's 73% mastery. I'm all in on mastery, basically. And then I've got Witch Doctor Wolfbones. This is the talent setup that we ran. I did run Hailstorm. So in the Anduin fight, there is a large amount of AoE in sort of the downstairs phase and in P2. So I actually think Hailstorm is the play here. I went LE Blast, Hot Hands, Hailstorm, LE Spirits. That's my setup. So I'm waiting for Hot Hand procs to do big single target damage with Lava Lash. And my spender, you know, I'm generating a ton of Maelstrom weapon stacks, so my spender LE Blast gets a lot of usage, which is really great. And then I'm speccing into Hailstorm because I'm pressing Frost Shock a lot, and I'm doing it because I've got the Chilled to the Core conduit. And now the big deviation that I did on this boss fight that I haven't done yet is I took out Tumbling Waves. So instead of running the Primordial Wave one where I can get a reset on Primordial Wave, I did the Lava Lash conduit and the Frost Shock conduit. So the Lava Lash conduit is for the crit, so that my Lava Lashes are crit, because I'm getting Hot Hands procs all the time, and I'm just pressing Lava Lash back to back to back, and this conduit is insane for that. And then the Chill to the Core conduit is for Frost Shock, because I'm casting Frost Shock on cooldown, whether I have a Hailstorm proc or not. Like, whether I've got 5 stacks of Maelstrom weapon and I spend it and get the Hailstorm buff. Regardless of whether I have that, I'm pressing Frost Shock because of Chill to the Core. Why? Because of our legendary. If Frost Shock generates 2 stacks of Maelstrom weapon, it reduces the cooldown on my wolves. And that's all I'm looking at. It's all in on the wolves. We're looking at mega wolf uptime. That's kind of what we're like interested in, right? So that's the basic build there. What do we have here on one of our pulls? I wanted to see if I'll get to this later. It's not a big deal. Anyway, that's the build that I'm looking at. So I do deviate. I'm not taking Tumbling Waves. We're going Magma Fist, Chills to the core. You're always running Focus Lightning. That one never changes. We are running Witch Doctor, Wolf Bones, and this is my setup. You go Hailstorm, Hot Hand, Ellie Blast. So that's it right there. And let's get into the fight here. Let me jump over to the video. Let me get my oop. Is that? Oh, that's OBS. That needs to go over here. We'll get the Twitch video going over here. Let's switch over. So, let me just grab my notes and pull them over here. So this is the platform that you're going to start on with Anduin. So let's look at this here. This is it's just a big circle, obviously, and it's not very big. There aren't really too many mechanics that require the platform usage. Like, it's not like some of the other boss fights, like Lihivim, where you're dropping bombs off and you have to be careful where you're putting them. There isn't really anything like that. I'm just going to start the first poll here, and I'm going to go through each mechanic bit by bit as we see them, okay? So I want to, first of all, I do want to talk about our damage on pull is really great, and you're going to see it here. On this pull here, we get a lot of damage right up front on pull, which is awesome. And you're just going to start the fight like this. Nothing crazy happens right at the beginning. So I'm lusting. I get
that glow.
So he does Hope Breaker. That's just AoE damage.
I'm having trouble with how much movement down there.
We got double Fire Dog right off the bat. So our damage is like 16, 17k. Look at this over here. We're doing 17k single target. Got a hot hand proc. My wolves are back already. Okay, so this is the first mechanic. This is called Befouled Barrier, and it's just a big barrier that he puts in the middle. It's like he's doing the opposite of priest abilities, right? Priest would have been like Holy Barrier or Powered Shield Barrier, Powered Barrier. Anyway, he's doing the opposite of that. This is a Befouled Barrier. What you have to do is people need to stand in the barrier and get healed. If those people in the barrier get healed, it reduces the size and scope of the barrier, and eventually it disappears. So you can see all of our health bars in here have turned, like they've kind of turned our health bars off. They're like a different shade. That's because of the barrier. Watch the barrier shrink as we're in there. So the barrier's here. It's shrinking. It's shrinking.
Just cast them quicker.
Getting smaller.
Yeah, okay.
And it disappears entirely. That's that mechanic. You just need everybody to stand in there together, and your healers need to heal people, and the barrier will absorb that healing and disappear. Then we have Blasphemy. This puts yellow circles or black circles around you. Don't look at the symbols above your heads. You don't need to look at those at all. Just look at the color of the circle around you. If you have a yellow circle, you need to go find somebody who has a black circle. That's it. If you're a black person with a black circle, you need to find somebody with a yellow circle. If you run into somebody with the same color, you'll both detonate. So don't run into somebody. If you have yellow, don't touch a yellow person, a person with a yellow circle. If you have a black circle, don't touch anybody with a black circle, okay? So you're going to watch. I'm going to duck back here and touch this person. I think this is Hero right here. And boom, our colors disappear, and we're done. It's that simple.
She's going to 5 my head.
So these two people are still looking for each other over here. I think they get each other at the very end. I'm not sure what happened there. Sometimes there is a barrier. Sometimes there is a one color left. It depends on your raid size. There can sometimes be a color left, and it shouldn't kill you. It should just do a little bit of damage to you, but it definitely shouldn't kill you. So I'm not sure why somebody died there, but
5 my head.
Oh, I know why they died. There's 2 yellow circles here. Yellow circle, yellow circle. They're going to touch each other right here. I think that's what happened right there. Ali got hit by the yellow circle. So anyway, that's just the bottom line. You don't want to touch the same color of circle as somebody else. Just find the opposite. Here's the next main mechanic. This is called Kingsmourne Hungers. He puts a big black half moon crescent thing on the ground here. You need to split your group into 2, and you're going to send group 1 into the downstairs realm by standing in this half moon crescent, okay? When I say downstairs realm, I'm just saying that, like, you kind of get teleported. You get split up from your regular group. You get phased into like a different instance of the fight. Okay, and you're going to see that right here. So I'm going to step into the black half circle here. And boom, we're in it. Now we're downstairs. There's ads that spawn down here. So there's one big ad that comes in the middle, and there's 4 smaller ads around the outskirts. There's one right here. You need to kill all of these ads. So they all try to run into the middle. See, there's one over here. Look at this guy. He's getting close. He's moving into the middle.
That one.
He's moving into the middle. He
I
gets
stunned him, I
he gets very close. I
stunned
stun him,
somebody. There we
and
go.
then Kindred grips him, which is great. A Death Knight in this phase is like really good. Probably
Working on it.
mandatory if I'm honest. So you need to kill. You basically want to grab the big ad. The tank is going to grab the big ad and drag them around the outskirts of the room, and you're going to sort of group them up with the small ads as you go and just try to cleave them down. If you kill this big ad, it gives you 20 energy. Anduin gets 20 energy. If you kill the small ads, they each give you 5 for a total of 20. So you can get 40 energy from killing all the ads down here on Anduin. Now, we didn't get them all. I want to show you once again. There's more stuff going on down here. See in this picture, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 green health bars. See these green health bars? There's one green health bar there, green health bar, green health bar, green health bar. You need to bring a healer down here with you, and the healer can heal those ads. If they heal each one of those ads before they reach the edge of the platform, then you'll get 20 more as well. For a total of 60, you can get 60 energy for Anduin down here. The other thing that's going on down here is that there's swirlies on the ground. You cannot get hit by these little missiles. If you do, you take a crazy amount of damage and damage over time. It'll just kill you. So you need to play really well when you're in the downstairs phase, because if you get hit down here, the healer who's down here with you will need to heal you, and then they won't be able to heal those little spirits that were running away, and then you won't get that energy. And if you do not get Anduin's energy bar to 100 after you're done doing the downstairs phase twice, it's a wipe. It's just an automatic wipe, and I'll show you that in a minute.
45 there. That was fine.
So we only got 45 energy. We really needed to get at least 50.
For stars.
You can get up to 60, but you should try and get at least 50. So we come back up from the downstairs phase, and then there's Wicked Star. If you guys play Priests, you know that there's an ability called Divine Star. You send this star, and it goes out and it heals people, and then it comes back in and it heals people, and it also damages people as well. This is the same thing, except it's called Wicked Star, and it does a crazy amount of damage. There it is right there. You can see the line.
One more star coming.
He does 3 of them. He does. There's 2. Here's number 3. If you get hit by this star, it silences you and puts a dot on you that will like basically one-shot you. So here's Kingsmourne Hungers number 2. So group 2 needs to go down. You cannot take Kingsmourne Hungers twice in a row or you will die. So group 1, I'm in group 1, so I have to stay up here. So group 2 goes in.
Okay, upstairs group, we're not coming in right away for this barrier.
So we're upstairs with Anduin. He's going to do Befouled Barrier again. Here it is. And he's going to do Wicked Stars. Here's the first Wicked Star. It's on me. You just have to run this out of the group and dodge it. So like he'll start casting it on you. He'll be like, I'm going to cast Wicked Star. I'm going to cast Wicked Star. And then boom, he casts it. Right as he's casting it, you can now move, and the Wicked Star will just go in that line where he finished his like channel. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Like you can dodge this ability. So I just dodged it right here. Let's go back a couple seconds. I just want to show you one more time. So he's going to start casting Wicked Star on me. See the line? 3, 2, 1. Boom. There. That's the line that Wicked Star is going to follow right here. Now I can move out of the way, and it won't follow me anymore. So I can dodge it that way. Really good point here as well is that if you need to use things like LE Blast and Frost Shock and Flame Shock and all your Maelstrom infused things like Lightning Bolt while you're out here on your own, because you have to take this out of the group. If you don't take this out of the group, then you're in trouble. So one important note I want to show here, Saruchi's bar has this Wicked Star symbol on it, meaning she got clipped by it on the way back in, which wasn't really her fault. She just didn't see it. It has a really big hitbox, actually. So she's silenced.
Oh, we can't do that. Interesting.
So right here, she got silenced, and she was like,
Well,
I can't help
you.
you.
You just got hit by a star, Suruchi?
I wasn't near the star. I waited.
So she was like, I wasn't near the star, but it actually has like a massive hitbox. So it wasn't really her fault. She just honestly thought she was far enough away from it. But you have to be really, really careful with these Wicked Stars.
Yeah, they have a really big hitbox, so it must have just clipped you.
So that's okay. So
They're staggered, the stars.
we
You need to take him back right away, Kindred, or not?
It's okay for now.
we're gonna keep going here. We actually, this is one of the later pulls that we do. We
Yeah,
get to
65.
phase 2. we actually make it to phase 2, which is right now. Anduin's going to start spitting out these, like, souls, and he goes basically invincible in the middle of the room.
Yeah, we're doing Lich King.
And then the Lich King comes. Arthas actually walks into this fight. So this is phase 2. Basically, Arthas spawns, and he's going to spawn a huge army of the dead, a bunch of ghouls, and you need to kill them as quickly as possible. When you're in this phase, you get a damage boost. Let me flip back to here for a second. When you're in this phase, you get a damage boost, and it's called Force of Will. So, when you're aiding Anduin in phase 1, when you go to the downstairs realm... Where's my phone? One sec. Phone's going crazy. Sorry, guys. When you go to the downstairs realm with Anduin, you're going to be restoring his willpower by killing off all those ads. That's how it works, right? So this thing here, like I said, we were restoring, like, you can get 50 energy each time. If you get 100 energy, you'll get a 200% damage increase, and you'll get 90% reduced damage taken. So if you don't get that 100 energy on Anduin, then it'll look a little bit more like this. I'm going to show you what happens in our fight here. We get the Lich King, but we only have 65% of his energy bar filled. So watch what happens to us. Look at our health bars.
Wow.
Murder.
Oh, I gotta take
We
bring
can
binding.
probably stun that and all that.
I'll bring binding.
Look what happened. We just got absolutely nuked.
Wow.
So we can grip these guys into the
Like, look at our health.
blow these up.
It's just like ticking. Tick, tick, tick. Then the ghouls start jumping around. The tanks die. So
Murder.
I can't stress this enough. You must do the phase 1 section correctly, or else you will not be able to do phase 2. You need to do the downstairs section of this fight correctly, or else you just will not be able to do phase 2 whatsoever. So it's just it's huge. Like it's most of the fight, which is why I really wanted to show it to you and wanted you guys to see that, like, if you don't do that downstairs phase correctly, it's just gonna be wiped. So let's move forward. We figure out a strat that works quite well. I'm actually gonna move quite a ways forward here. 502, 35. Let's go here. Let me just back it up a tiny bit. So here comes Kingsmourne Hungers. This is phase 1. This is the first time that we go down. This is my group. So we come up with a strategy. I was running the other direction last time, and now I'm running over here. You can see there's the 4 healing ads in the middle of the room, so the healer can get working on those. I go and solo an ad by myself. So watch this.
That one's off to the side. Just good job, Sir.
I actually get a trinket proc here that just instantly, like, one-shots this thing. Boom. So there, I kill an ad all by myself, and Kindred and everybody else, the tank and everybody, are working on the other ads, and then I join them. I join up with them. And that seemed to work a lot better for us. So particularly with this build, the Witch Doctor Wolfbones build, I think that it's a legitimate idea that you could just go and solo one of these ads, because we have really, really good single target damage. So then we work on the big ad. We're cleaving it down while we're killing the small ads. Our healer down here, Doogie, is working on healing.
Spread. Again, back.
And we get Anduin to 60 energy. You can see in the top corner here, he's at 60 energy right there.
That was 60. Good job.
So that was the best we could have possibly done. That was really good.
Dr. Skull. Should I take him now?
So then we're back up.
Stars.
Yeah, you can have him. Awesome, Zeth.
And then this is going to be group 2.
So the stars go out, and then Kingsmourne Hunger is coming. So the downstairs phase is coming for the second group. Here it is right here. We got a hot hand proc with double Firewolf. That feels pretty good.
He's over there. He's big demon man.
So now I'm upstairs.
Upstairs group, bait your stars to blue.
We're going to kind of bait our stars to blue, as Quag is saying. There's Befouled Barrier. Quag gets a star. You don't want to get hit by that star. Second star is on Ali Ross. Third star is on somebody.
Then come join the barrier when you can.
Then I'm in the barrier, and I channel Fleshcraft in the barrier. And I think that that helps to reduce the barrier, because any healing that is received by anybody while you're in the barrier reduces it. So that's a really good time to Fleshcraft if you are Necrolord, is in the Befouled Barrier. Just take a second and do that. So then he does Blasphemy.
Get off of me.
Again, it's just there's less people, but you still have to do the same thing.
Had no cooldowns.
Bring the opposite colors together. And Kindred does die there, but that's okay. Let me show you one more thing here. We're going to go to 508, 55.
Last
Okay.
on the Lich King?
So this time we get to phase 2, which is the Lich King phase. We get there cleanly, and we have Lust
Yeah,
ready to go.
he comes out.
We still have a big problem, and I'll tell you that in a second, but
Right where the
we do, usually we were lusting on pole just to see more of the fight, but now we've saved Lust. We've got to Anduin. We've got to Arthas, the Lich King,
I'm gonna hold
with
it. I'm
Lust.
just waiting. Hold on.
So here we go. He's spawning.
Spread.
Get a stun on that immediately.
There we go.
If you can grip the
Now, the problem here is that we only have 65 energy. So group, I think the second group that was going down to do the downstairs phase where you have to get Anduin his energy, they were having a really tough time, and they didn't get to see the downstairs phase nearly as much as our group did. So they weren't getting as much energy as they could have been. But this phase right here for us as Enhancement Shaman, you can see I have the Hailstorm buff. This is where the Hailstorm buff is like enormous, right? This is why you want Hailstorm. You can start doing massive AoE damage. You're gonna
Stunning.
see. I think that
mining down there in the middle of it.
Livwin, our monk, I think he comes flying up from the depths here and does a bunch of extra damage.
Dropping stuns, guys.
But your damage will just go
Binding
up
was
here.
good.
So we're doing a little bit better, but you just can't survive. Here comes Livwin. Look at, he wasn't even on the DPS torch, and he's just like ding, ding, ding. He just goes way up there.
We need to focus Arthas, I thought.
It's really, really cool.
No, we have to kill this
No.
ad.
So we just can't do this phase because
Res.
we don't have enough energy.
No.
That's the bottom line. It's nothing really to do. We're not doing anything mechanically wrong. We just are dying because we haven't got Anduin enough willpower so that we're not like tanky enough, right? He gives you 200% damage increase and 90% reduced damage taken if you've done the downstairs phase correctly. So I can't stress this enough that this fight is like 110% about the downstairs phase. It's all about how you do that downstairs phase, and if you do it correctly, then it ends up working out perfectly well.
'Cause I'm saving my runes.
If you can do something like this, once the tank and the healer down here get a lot of practice, the healer can get these 4 ads in the middle. He can heal them up. Maybe you can go solo an ad by yourself. This phase right here, this downstairs phase, is the entire fight. You need to do this correctly, or else the rest of the fight, you might as well just wipe. If you don't get 100 energy, then you should just wipe, basically, and you should start again, because it's just that important. So you need to practice this phase a lot and get it down pat before you're going to be able to progress anywhere further. Because you'll like what happened to us, you'll get to the Lich King phase and you'll just immediately die
60, good job.
because you only have 65 energy or 70 or whatever it is, right? So that's what you need to do, and that's the that's sort of the core of the Anduin fight right now, as I've been sort of running with it. Now, let me just explain a couple of things that will happen later in the fight, and I'll probably do a different video on this later because I just really wanted to harp and explain really, really hard is that this interaction here, getting Anduin his willpower back, is so incredibly important, and if you screw this part up, you might as well not even worry about the rest of the fight because it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to do it correctly. So you're going to have the Lich King spawn, and you're going to kill him and all of his ads. Because you're doing double damage during the Lich King phase, all the damage that the Lich King takes gets transferred to Anduin. So it's essentially like you're doing double damage to Anduin when you're dealing damage to Arthas, okay? Which is really, really cool. So that's why it's so important that you do the downstairs phase correctly so that you have 100 energy on Anduin so that you get the full buff so you can really smack the Lich King. Once you're done that, you'll go back and it'll be phase 1 again with Arthas up top. But now there's going to be these things called Grim Reflections, which are just these like stationary ads that start casting Psychic Terror, and they need to be kicked. And they'll just keep trying to cast it over and over and over again. So you need like a kick order for this ad. But otherwise, it's the same fight. He puts Befouled Barrier down. You have to match up the colors, the yellow and the black colors. And then there's these Psychic Reflections that you have to kick. And you have to go into the downstairs phase again and get Anduin's energy going. Once again, same thing. Willpower and Force of Will. Exact same thing. So then, once you do that, you're going to have another intermission once again with the Lich King. And this time he has additional abilities as well. Instead of just killing the 4 ads that are on the corners and the big ad in the middle and then healing those little ads, there's also an ability called March of the Dam, which basically these ghouls just start moving across the platform, and if you get hit by them, you die. And they move slowly, so you can sort of avoid them, but it's a big, long conga line, not a conga line, a big, long, like, marching line of ghouls. They create a wall, and you have to get around the wall of ghouls, and if you get hit by them, you're dead. So that there's just more to do in that downstairs phase. Not more to, like, attack, but just more to, like, dodge and avoid and that kind of stuff. And then you're going to come back up from the Lich King phase, and it'll be stage 3 with Anduin. And this time, instead of getting the multiple colors, the yellow and the black colors that you have to get into each other, you're just going to get something called Hopelessness, which is just a black circle. Everybody gets a black circle. And Anduin's going to put a big yellow circle in the middle of the arena. And everybody has to take turns basically dipping their black circle into the big yellow one in the middle. And everybody just has to sort of take turns getting rid of their debuff like that. That's sort of that mechanic. But I'm going to try and do a video on that stuff later once we progress further into the Anduin fight, which I think we will this week. So for now, it's really important to understand this whole willpower system. When you go into the downstairs phase, and you need to do that phase properly, you need to kill those ads, all 4 of the small ones and the big one, and you need your healer to heal those 4 ads as well. You need to get at least 50 energy so that the other team that goes down there can also get 50 energy, and you need to get Anduin to 100 energy. Like, you can get 60, 40, you can also do it that way, but ideally you want to just get at least 50 energy to give your other downstairs team a shot at also getting 50 energy. And if you do that, then you get 100 energy for Anduin, and when he transitions to the Lich King phase, you won't immediately die. You can actually survive the Lich King phase. And that phase is a lot of fun. That's where the AoE comes in, is this Lich King phase, because there's just ghouls everywhere. Army of the Dead, there's just friggin' ghouls jumping all over the place. So, but that's really what I want to focus on for this video, is you need to master that downstairs phase. You need to do it correctly. And if you do, then it will set you up for success on the rest of the fight. But if you're failing the downstairs phase, then you're never going to progress on this fight anywhere. It's all about Anduin's willpower and this buff that you're trying to get, this Force of Will buff. So that's it, guys. That's the Anduin fight. I really just wanted to show it to you. I'm going to review my build once again, one more time. We did do Witch Doctor Wolfbones. We were running, of course, Ellie Blast Hot Hands and Hailstorm because we're pressing Frost Shock a lot. The biggest deviation in my build was that I took Chilled to the Core and Magma Fist over Tumbling Waves. I did dump Tumbling Waves for this fight. So Chilled to the Core, Magma Fist, Focus Lighting. Those are my 3. That's the build, and that's the Anduin fight. I'm going to try to get another video for you guys this coming week on the rest of the Anduin fight, because I want to see it and I want to get the kill for myself. I will make sure to explain all the rest of the mechanics as I see them in that video. But for now, definitely just want to focus on that willpower, focus will. That downstairs section is so important. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to sub to the channel, I would really appreciate it. We did get over 1,000 subscribers. Super happy about that. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'd love it if you dropped a subscription below. Drop a like on the video. Give me a comment, and let's talk about this in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation about this fight. Let me know what you think about it and how far you've gotten on this fight. I would love to know. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next one, we'll see you later.